Moshe Rabbi comes to 770. There was up as like one of these Yemei the Pagras that he comes to speak, and he didn't know the whole Chiyulich was 770. So he comes and he starts talking and thus, and he realizes 770 and Kena Herdnish, so he said, if within a minute it's not quiet, I'm going to get up and get out of here. Okay, 30 seconds, 40 seconds, 50 seconds. After a minute, he went and sat down. So the MC comes up and he says, Yeshakayach, Rabbi so-and-so, for your heartwarming words. And with this we can end the shiur. The shiur is going to be about Arichos HaChaim L'Osad Lavoi. Everybody knows the concept of Chaim Nitzchiyim. But just to put in a plug over here, advertisement, the Chidon Gulam Moshiach, everything I'm going to say over here comes from the booklets. And if anyone wants to give a hand, you go to Chaim Pekarsky or Zalmy Eidelman, and they'll be more than happy to accept your moment. In general, everybody knows in the beginning, right after the world was created, there was a much longer time span. People lived a longer life. But now we know in general, in general, the lifespan is much shorter.
74.
So we're going to delve into what do we know from the Nevuos, what do we know from Chazal, and from the different Psukim, how long people are going to live, and the reasons for it. And again, there's a lot of Gemaras, and it's a big sugya, and it's really not a sugya you can cover in one shiur, but we're just going to cover it from the standpoint of the Nevuos, and B'chlal, just to throw in a rant, just l'shem throwing a rant. In Engel Mashiach, a lot of people, I think, are missing this nekuda of a lot of times to go back to the Nevuos itself, see what the Nevuos say, the Mefarshim, v'chulu, and then when you come to the Rambam, and you come to the Sichos, v'chulu, it's a whole new clerk, a new deher, v'chulu. So, about the Arichos HaChaim L'Osad Lavoi, the Navi says that lo yiyeh, in that time, ul yamim, someone which is young, or a zaken, that's not going to have a full lifespan, because somebody which is going to die when he's 100 years old, it's going to be like a nar. They're going to say he's a little kid. He died 100 years old, And somebody else, another reason somebody died, he was a chayta, that's why he died 100 years old. So somebody who dies 100 years old, it's going to be l'chayta, unusual thing. That's the way the Mefarshim explain it. And there's another Nevuah of Yeshaya, which he just pushed a real estate eitzah. He says that there's not going to be a metzias that you build a house and somebody else is going to be the one which takes inhabitants, because people are going to live such a long life. Just like a tree which has a long life, they're going to live a few hundred years. So Mela, when you build a house, a few hundred years later, there's still going to be the people living in the house. And that's why it says that the stuff are actually going to get yivalu v'chila. It's going to get actually worn out. So we see over here, there's going to be construction when Mashiach comes, and there's going to be the concept of stuff getting worn out. Stam derech agav, there's a shaka v'tayin sparm b'chol about real estate. Bizman hazeh, could you koch in real estate bizman hazeh? Because l'chayra, we're doch in galus and das and yen, so we can zayin as ametzias that somebody's buying houses in galus. So the pshara, the hachra is that as long as it's not too big of a koch, as long as it's within the normal parameters, that's fine. But it's a ganze shaka v'tayin, fine. Ein kam mekrem. Choyim l'nekuda is azeh. So we see the Nevuos, two places in Yeshaya says it's Nekuda. The Shaila is Taka, how long people are going to live, and Israel Chiluk Tim Goyim and Yidden. So let's go on to the Mefarshim, the way they explain this pasuk. So in general, there's four shittas, how long people will live L'Asad Lavoi. The Radak, the David Kimchi, he says that they're going to live 300 to 500 years, and he says it's going to be something special, significant, Dafka to Yidden, not something for Allah under the Minim. And similarly, Rav Tzaddik Goyin, Rabbi Machai writes similarly. Rabbi Machai says a very, very interesting word. He says, when Mashiach is going to come, there's going to be the Gilead Shechina, which that represents the Hey of Shem Hashem. And so he says, now a person gets an Einish when he's 20 years old. Since then there's going to be the Gilead Shechina, so the Ein of Hey, so it's going to be 5 times 20. So 5 times 20 is 100. So only when they're 100 years old is going to be the time there's going to be Einish. Chaz, Hol Shaka V'Taya, Bar Mitzvah, and the Gilead Einish Pack is going to be 100 years old or not. And what's the reason for that? Also in the Chidon Gol Mashiach over there, there's a ganze chapter, Zalmy Eidelman will tell you that. The Kuda is that, so 5 times 20 is 100, that it says that even our Rasha will live 100, the Gil, the Einish will be 100 years old. Now, Allah is kama tzaddikim, that Mad the Cheshayim, the Einish is 100 years old, tzaddikim will live 5 times that much. So Rabbi Chai says, because it's going to be Gil Shem Hashem, the skill of this hay, the Shekhinah is going to come back, so it'll be 5 times as much, it'll be 500 years. So that's an interesting beer of the Rabbeinu Mechai. The second shitta is the Ramak, Ramesha Kadvero, which he writes that it's going to be 600 years. And he says there's going to be a chiluk between different categories of Yidden. There's going to be tzaddikim are attacking to live Chaim Nitzchim. Then there's going to be those which are going to live like 600 years, the normal Yidden, the typical Yid. Then there's going to be the Goyim, which are just going to live 100 years old, till 100 years old. Yeah. Then there's a third. So some of it is random, some of it has logic. So for example, the following shit that Ramban Taka says that the Ramban Taka says that the Der HaMabul, it's going to be in an oifen that since before Der HaMabul, how long they lived over 900 years. So people are going to live just like the way it was before Der HaMabul. That's the shit of the Ramban, which has he said in the Medrash, which we're going to get to in a second. The fourth and final shittel is the Barbanel, which he says something similar to the Ramban, but he says it's two tkufas. There's a tkufa of Kibbutz Galias, right in the beginning of moshiach. People are going to live like the pasuk says, 100 years old.
They happen after people die.
No, come on.
Those Rambans, they happen after people die.
It's a good question because so not Lav give you the Ramban. This is a big question about that whole tkufa in moshiach. For a whole nother shiur. There's a sach to talk about them. Chassidus is different than other things. We're not going to get into it. I don't want to get into it because it's a complicating thing.
Shiur, come back next week.
So we're avoiding the dangerous territory. So B'chlolos, it's a good question. Most of them are taught. So the Barbanel makes a chiluk between first kufa and second kufa. You're saying B'chlolos. All the other ones are saying B'chlal. They're not saying dafka about first kufa, second kufa. A lot of them hold that there's a later kufa in the Moshiach, which then there's going to be garnished, mitnished. But pshat, sit for around that side. So again, l'sikum. There's 4 shittas. There's 300, 500 years. Then there is like 600 years. Then there is Der HaMabul. 900 years later, then there's a chiluk between 2 tkufas. That's the 4 general shittas on the pasuk. The way they explain this pasuk. Now the question is, what's the reasons which make this happen to be that we attack such a long life? Out of nowhere, it's just a ness. Is there sibus echet v'teva? So the Rambam famously says in the Pirush Mishnah is that life is going to be stress-free. When Moshiach comes, there's not going to be any stress. It's going to be beheder, hadaiges, v'atzoros, yorchu achayim. It's going to be long life, pasha b'gashmis. And the Mabit adds to this, and he says that not only the people which are born in the Moshiach, which for sure they're going to be programmed to have stress-free life, but even the people which are coming from Golos, they're also going to have a stress-free life, and they're going to be able to have Avez Hashem Menucha v'chulu. Then there's a second shitta that Barbanel says that everybody will just operate al pi halacha, al pi Torah. A person has to eat normal things and drink normal things, v'chulu. So b'derech HaMeila he's going to be healthy, and b'chlal the Eibusha will program a person to be in a healthier way. So Meila we're going to keep to. Once we get in our healthy cycle, we're just going to keep to our healthy cycle. That's the second shita. The third shita is a machlekes. Even says that it's supposed to be healthier ear. After some Sfarm say that after the Mabul was pashut, the ear came more pollution, whatever. Got to get to this again. So pashut came less good. So when she has to come, so it'll come back to the way it was originally, and it'll come good ear. That Adak strongly argues. He quotes the Even HaEzer and he says, "V'achacham Rabbi Avram." He explains that when it says in the Nevuah that there's going to be Hinni Beirei Shemayim Chadash, I'm going to make a new sky and a new Oretz, it's going to be the new ear. But he says no, it's going to be a Nes, something special for Yidden, not for anyone else. Now, finally, the fourth and last Indian, it says in Medrash, the reason why Taka Loslavi it's going to be different because before the Mabul it was Taka, they had Chaim Arukim. But once there was its ending of doing Chatayim v'chulu, it was mugbul to only 120 years, and after when Mashiach's going to come, it's going to come back to the original state. So again, just to be masakim, to have it clear, there is a few reasons why there'll be taka, healthy, long life when Mashiach comes. There's going to be a concept, stress-free life, that's the Rambam. Then there's going to be the concept of everybody's pasha going to be healthy, everybody's going to keep to their health. The third reason is pasha mitzad, there's going to be no pollution of the ear, there's machlekes, is that Tafsiyans. And the fourth and final reason is after the Mabul, as a result that the Yidden, the whole thing was because the Mabul, it was a Cheder Mabul, when after Mashiach comes, that's going to be annulled, this whole thing is going to be back to the original Richas HaChaim. Now in general, there's 3 general shittas. We didn't get into the whole shit about Misa Lots of Love, and we're not going to get into that again, because that has to do with what this other Tkufa, no, not next week. But in general, there's 3 shittas. There's one shitta which holds that there's going to be long life, but eventually everybody's going to die. Very sad shitta. Then there's a second shitta which says there's different tkufis, and there could be even in a later tkuf or different people will have chaim nitzchim. The third and final shitta is the right in the beginning of Moshiach to mean is batal misal gambi, and everybody knows that the Rebbe says chaim nitzchim v'chulu v'chulu, And the Rebbe says that it'll be Chaim Arukim, not just in Arichos HaChaim, like Pasha mitzad the length, also mitzad the Eichos HaChaim. The Rebbe's lashon is there's going to be a Maim L'Matzah Shel Geula, Shekol Yom Mali B'Simcha V'Geula. Every single day is going to be full of Simcha and Geula. Just to finish off a vart of Inyana D'Yema, Shavuos, it says that is it going to be Nisbat Lava or not? So there's the Moshiach Skenim in the end of Parashas Pinchas, one of the Baalei Tosfos. He writes that it's not going to be Nisbatal. Now people took that to mean that it's not going to be Nisbatal Lasud Lavi. However, different people in the past generation observed that they misread the Moshiach Skenim, because he was saying why there's Yom Kippur, the whole thing Luchos Shenis, Luchos Shnis, they did Aveda and they did Tshuva and that's the end. So only Yom Kippur should be the thing which stands. We don't need Shavuos anymore. So he says no. And that's why Shavuos will also stand. When Mashiach comes, we're already going to have the Terech Hadasha, so the Chshivus of Shavuos is not going to be the same way that we're not going to be as necessary as the way it is Bisman HaGolos. So Ad Kan.